Hello and welcome to Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary on the beautiful Gold Coast in Queensland. Now your tour guide for today is Bunker, a 10-year-old koala who loves eating eucalyptus and mostly sleeping. I don't know if you know this, but he's actually the most popular koala on the Gold Coast. He's just, he's a divine, isn't he? So thank you so much for tuning in. My name's Candice Dixon and I'm just so excited to show you my hometown of the Gold Coast and this incredible sanctuary. Now I'm joined by Sarah Eccleston, who I believe has the best job on the entire planet, and that is koala specialist and wildlife expert. Sarah, is Bunker going to be a good tour guide, do you think?
Bunker was born ready for this. He loves showing off his homes. Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary is a pretty special place and we look forward to heading through and showing everybody.
Oh, well, for Bunker, this is a major honour because Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary has been operating as a not-for-profit organisation for 73 years now. And guess what? This is their very first live stream. You have a voice, little Bunker. Oh, just so cute. So first of all, we're going to take you around Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary, and then we'll give you an inside look into one of the world's busiest wildlife hospitals, and that's the Currumbin Wildlife Hospital, isn't it, Bunker?
That's it.
And what's your day looking like, Bunker?
Well, Bunker actually is heading in that direction too. So he's heading off to the hospital to have an annual checkup and some vaccinations. So we'd be happy to take you through and show you a few of his mates along the way.
This is such an incredible honour. I can't believe we have Bunker as our tour guide. So should we start walking?
Yeah,
We've
let's
got a long journey to go.
We do.
So you'll notice it's actually pretty quiet around here, and that's because the doors are temporarily closed. But for the animals, they actually don't know any different, and it's kind of crazier than ever for all of the wildlife staff and also vet staff, isn't it?
It's keeping us busy, that's for sure. Giving all these animals the love that they're missing out without no guests.
And as we've seen from the comments today, koalas have really become the international symbol of Australian wildlife. We just love them so much. But we do want to tell you today that there are so many other species that we are just so honoured to call Australian. And one type of species that I can see in the corner of my eye is actually a dingo. How cool, we have dingoes. This is amazing.
Yeah, the boys have been out for a walk.
Hello, who do we have here? Hey guys.
This is the lovely Beck and Lindy and Seth and Kaylin here today.
Am I allowed to pat? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so dingoes are basically like Australia's wild dog, but do they bark like dogs?
They actually don't bark, no. They communicate through howls and different forms of little yips and yaps. So they actually don't bark like your domestic dog. They're Kaylin doesn't want to come on with a tour with Bunker.
And I've actually noticed that a lot of dingoes, they have different coats. Why do they have different colourings?
They actually have quite a few different colours of dingo that inhabit Australia, so depending on where they're from. So those boys are actually alpine dingoes, so their brother is actually white. Then you have the forest dingo that looks a little bit like a kelpie, has that black and tan coat. So very, very different depending on where they're located in Australia.
How clever is wildlife to adapt to the surroundings?
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's so cool. And are they top of the food chain?
They are. They're our apex predator, but they actually have helped to save quite a lot of our smaller species because they're focusing on the big guys like the kangaroos and the things like that. So the smaller little critters that we don't hear so much about, they actually get a bit of a helping hand in skipping out on being dingo dinner.
I just saw them run out of shot. They're obviously done with the life. Yeah. Thank you, dingoes. They're just so cute. And do you think that actually, I mean, we couldn't have them as pets, but because they don't smell, they kind of make good pets, right?
Yeah, they don't smell at all. Their coats maintain themselves, not like some of our stinky domestics. They actually do smell quite nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for showing me them. And I know they do a lot of walking every day, don't they?
Every day they go out for a walk, and they do go out with our guests. So that's something that people can enjoy when we finally get to let people back in. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for organising that. And I think you do have another animal on our journey,
Yeah,
don't you?
there is another little guy on our journey. Now, this one is one of Australia's very unique species. So the echidna is
how cool.
a egg-laying mammal. So that is just mind-blowing in itself.
Yeah.
So they're one of 2 egg-laying mammals in Australia and one of 3 in the world. So the other species that we work very closely with here is the little short-beaked echidna hiding there in the bushes with Lindy.
This is honestly like a treasure hunt. I'm so glad you guys are viewing because this is so exciting. Oh, what? Okay, now If you've never seen an echidna before, maybe take a screenshot because these guys are just so extraordinary. And I actually found out the other day that a baby echidna is called a puggle. What do puggles look like?
Puggles are a funny little creature. They actually they hatch from their egg, and as I mentioned before, they are an egg-laying mammal. One fun fact about echidnas is that there is an animal that's on our Australian 5-cent piece. Do you know what that animal is?
Oh, look, I'm thinking it might be this little guy.
It looks exactly like that on our 5-cent piece, to be honest. And that's about the size of an echidna's egg. So the 5-cent piece is exactly the same size as an echidna egg. So it's a good fun fact to tell your friends.
Now, while they're just so cute as wildlife animals, they actually have a really important purpose in wildlife, don't they? In our ecosystem?
So they move through our environment. They're actually found in every location throughout Australia, from our alpine regions right the way through to our deserts, into our rainforests, even on the beach. You can find echidnas. And what they're doing is they're moving the soil around, turning the soil, which actually helps to aerate and improve the soil. And what they're looking for is they're looking for ants and termites, and they've got a pretty mean weapon to catch them with, and that's their tongue.
Wow.
Their tongue's about 18 centimetres long, and it can move in every single direction.
Am I allowed to pat?
You can have a feel.
Is that okay?
You can.
I want to tell everyone what it feels like. Oh, wow, it's not as sharp as it looks. It sort of feels, this is weird, maybe like a pencil that you've just sharpened. That's probably what I'm going to say.
That's a good way to explain it.
So it's not actually as scary as I thought.
No. And it's actually made of keratin, just like our fingernails.
Oh, you're kidding. That's why it's kind of soft.
That's it. And they'll slowly shed those out and grow new ones through. So the white ones are the older ones ready to fall out, and the darker ones are the new ones growing through.
So cool. Well, what was this little guy's name again?
That's Jack.
Okay, Jack. Thank you, Jack.
See you, Jack.
See you later. All right, are there any other animals? This is just too fun.
Well, we're just heading up now to my most favourite place in the park, but I might be a little bit biased. But we're heading into our koala and breeding area, and our koala nursery is just up ahead.
Nursery.
So we're going to head in. It does mean babies, or joeys, we should say, shouldn't we?
Yes, we should.
So we're going to head into our koala nursery,
and
where we can go inside. So let's jump in there.
Wow. This is so cool.
We're going in, Bunker.
Okay, I've spotted the first joey. Oh, wow, guys, you've got to check this out. Who's this little one?
So, we've got here Elfie, little Elfie in there.
Hello.
Hi, Elfie. Good morning. So, Elfie is one of our beautiful babies that was born and bred here at the sanctuary. She's going on about 15 months old now, and is growing up to be a big girl.
And there's a whole tree of koala joeys.
A little bit
this is the most magical place on earth, right here on the Gold Coast.
A little bit of a
Check out the one at the bottom, just chilling, eating eucalyptus.
That's Stella. Stella likes to eat. I've never met a little joey koala that eats as much as Stella, to be honest.
Oh my goodness.
She really enjoys those gum leaves.
She's turning it on for the camera.
She sure is.
Look at her just chomp away. So koala joeys, they're basically baby koalas. How long do they stay in the pouch?
So a koala will be pregnant for about 35 days before she gives birth. When she gives birth, she's going to be giving birth to a super tiny baby. It's about the size of a jelly bean, looks a little bit like a pink jelly bean too. And that little baby will climb its way up inside the pouch. And once it's inside the pouch, it'll attach to one of the two teats in there and begin feeding on milk. And it will stay in there for about 6 months, feeding on its mum's milk. So growing big and strong inside the pouch.
Wow. And the next step is on the back of mum.
That's right. So then the next step is heading out and into the big world and learning to move around in the treetops. And they do that by riding on mum's back. So they'll be holding on and moving through the trees, a bit like a jockey on the back of a horse, to be honest.
Wow. And I heard that they can sleep up to about 20 hours a day. Why are they so tired?
Yeah, they have a pretty intensive job to do. So all those eucalyptus leaves that they're eating are incredibly hard work to digest, but they give them very little energy. So there's only about 5% sugars in a gum leaf. So they haven't got a lot of energy, so they need to store as much energy as they can. So they spend all that time sleeping. But one of the more interesting facts about eucalyptus and about how koalas process it is that it is pretty nasty stuff. It's very, very highly toxic to most other animals. So they've adapted well to feeding on eucalyptus. They don't have much in the way of other animals trying to steal it off them.
And now I know that your team works so hard to get all of this fresh gum. How do you actually go about getting it all?
So our leaf cutters go out on a daily basis, 7 days a week, and they're bringing back this leaf for these guys to consume and munch away on. But yeah, the joeys, they need to eat pap, and pap is some pretty funky stuff.
What is pap?
Pap is actually mum's poo. So
I can't believe they eat poo. I had no idea.
Yeah, so they need to get the right bacteria in their stomach, in their gut, to actually digest these pretty tough old gum leaves that Stella's munching away on there. Look at her go.
Now, Sarah, I actually just saw that we have a question. Are drop bears real? From Oliver in Southport, United Kingdom. Hello, thank you for watching. Are drop bears real?
Well, we like to make people believe that they're real, but they're certainly not. They are not real, but it's a pretty good gag to keep going, isn't it? So don't stand still for too long. Look out for the drop bears.
I know, and we have to trust Sarah because she has been doing this 21 years, which is just so incredible. Congratulations on 21 years.
Thank you.
What keeps you motivated to keep pushing so hard?
How can you not be motivated when you get to look at these little guys' faces every single day? So working as part of our conservation project for these guys here, breeding a beautiful collection of healthy animals, I'm hoping one day that that's going to have a massive impact on saving the species in the wild. So that's what keeps me going. That's what my drive is.
So just how important is the work that your entire team does? How is it crucial? These guys wouldn't survive almost?
It is crucial because unfortunately life is really hard for our animals in the wild. Australia has the highest extinction rate for mammals in the world. And so working here at the sanctuary and having about 16 conservation projects that we're working with really is important, and it makes me happy to be a part of it. It makes me really proud, yeah.
And they're all so precious. I'm just honestly in my absolute element as a koala lover, and I know everyone tuning in has a soft spot for koalas as well. Now, I don't like to ask you, but do you have a favourite koala?
I do, but I shouldn't say it out loud because Bunker might get jealous. But,
oh, no.
But yeah, I do have a favourite. I must say I've got a soft spot for one in particular.
Oh, well, they're all just so adorable. And honestly, that little Stella, the way she's sitting in that tree right now, I need to bring back my camera because that is the cutest thing. I don't know if there's a cuter baby animal in the entire world, but our journey is only probably halfway, so we might stumble across a little cutie on the way. Should we head over to the hospital?
Oh, we've got a couple of questions.
We have more questions. Okay, we have a question.
There's a good one there.
Oh, Felix from Germany. How much does a koala eat?
A koala eats quite a lot, actually. So we talked about how the leaf cutters go out daily and cut that leaf. It's because they eat about 1 kilo each a day, and that's only the fresh tips. So that's not all the leaves. So we need to cut a lot of food, yeah.
And I also have another one. This is from Elizabeth. Thank you so much for tuning in, Elizabeth. Are they nocturnal? Why are they awake? That's
a very good question. So koalas are not really truly nocturnal. I would say they're a little bit more crepuscular. So they're going to wake up when it's the best suited time in the day. So right now it's a little bit overcast. It's nice and cool. So that's going to help them conserve energy. And they've just had some lovely fresh leaf put there, so they've woken up to eat that. It's all about their bellies.
And they've got the whole day to sleep, really. So should we head this way over to the hospital?
Yeah, let's head out.
Okay, let's keep on moving.
See you guys.
I'll try and guide you. I really don't want to leave them. Oh, I love them so much. So just to tell everyone again, what were the names in there? There was Stella, there was Elf?
There's Stella, there's Elf, there's Bonbon.
Yes.
There's Simba in there. We actually didn't see Simba. Simba was hiding. She's tiny, so she was hidden away in there. And little Shardy,
yeah. They're just honestly so gorgeous. And you're actually a Currumbin local, aren't you?
I am, yeah, I am.
What's so beautiful about living here? I mean, we can pretty much see why.
I cannot tell you how spectacular Currumbin is, and having the rainforest meet the sea is one of the most amazing things that I don't think people really understand how magnificent that is, particularly in such a highly urban area, to have this magnificent 27 hectares that we have here. That just rolls down to some of the most beautiful beaches in the world.
It is amazing, and right now we can actually hear the dingoes howling. It's really mystical. I quite enjoy this. Now, for those who are new to Currumbin, I should just say that we're in the southern end of the Gold Coast, and we're right next to Coolangatta Airport, and we're pretty close to Burleigh Beach and Surfers Paradise as well. And as Sarah said, it is so crazy to think that there's beautiful beaches literally just a stone's throw away.
Yeah.
And yet we are surrounded by luscious eucalyptus and rainforest. I mean, it's just stunning. And we should probably tell the guys as well that it's around midday Australian Eastern Standard Time, so just the perfect time to explore.
Exactly.
And it just smells so fresh with all the trees around. It's just stunning.
We're actually just moving through a really important and critical part of Currumbin. We've just come down off our blackbutt stand, which is actually a local endemic endangered species of tree. So we're really lucky that we can preserve not just animals in our space, but also types of flora as well, which is super important. So Currumbin is not just home to these guys that live with us here and we look after them, but it's also home to a multitude of wild animals that call this place home. So as we move through, we might see water dragons moving around. We have ducks that come in, and probably one of the most famous locals that comes and visits us is our rainbow lorikeets. And they've been visiting us now for 73 years. So
wow, they know where to come because you guys give them food, which is so cool.
Exactly.
And of course, there's so much natural food as well in all of the leaves and berries. It's just, honestly, it's a sanctuary.
It is a sanctuary,
It is. Why is the environment and animals just so important to you?
Well, we need to make sure that we are looking after our wildlife and our animals. They are important. They're just as important as anything else. And without them, the world just doesn't function. From the tiniest little bee right up to the koalas and the bats. You know, these animals are all so important. We have to look after them and preserve them.
And we only need to be reminded when we see a tree and realise that we as humans wouldn't survive without a tree.
Exactly.
So it's a beautiful circle, and I love that you all protect our ecosystem, and there's quite a bit of science to understand. So I'm just so grateful that there are people like you who have decided to learn and then implement that into our beautiful society.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's honestly stunning. So did you say 27 hectares?
Yeah, 27 hectares of native forest that we have here at Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary. And yes, so many species that live amongst the gum trees here and call it home. So yeah, pretty magical place. We've got a bit of a mate that's just coming up ahead here. We do.
Oh wow, I did not even spot him. Okay, am I allowed to attempt to come over
Chris.
here?
Okay, this is Chris and Cleo, the Darwin python.
So snakes, they're obviously found all over the world, but Australia, they're known for their dangerous snakes. Please tell me this guy isn't dangerous.
Well, Chris might be, but Cleo not so much.
So this is Cleo.
This is Cleo. Cleo is a python. So these guys are semi-arboreal. So they move their way through the treetops looking for food. When they do find something, they'll latch on and they'll actually constrict their prey. So there's nothing nasty about these guys other than that. Unless you're a possum, you're probably in a bit of strife, yeah.
And you know what I'm going to ask, am I allowed to touch?
You can, yeah. Okay. Chris will let you have a touch.
Okay, oh wow, it's really cool, and it feels a little bit like you know the bumpy side of a leaf? You know that underside? I know that's a weird example, but that's what it feels like.
Yeah, so that again is made of keratin. So same as our fingernails, and that helps to protect them. That's their skin. They have some amazing features, these guys as well. They have a heat sensing pits underneath their jaw that they use to locate their food. Because they're quite nocturnal, so they'll move around in the dark when it's much safer and when it's easier to ambush their prey.
Wow, look, Cleo,
I think he's having a sniff of Bunker.
I would actually love to have a go and have a cuddle. Or do you cuddle snakes? I guess you can cuddle a snake, but we really do have to get Bunker to his checkup, so we better go. And he just winked at us. He wants to go.
He's ready
he wants
to go.
Get it over and done with. That's because it's an annual checkup, right?
It is,
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Chris. Thanks, Cleo.
Okay, we're nearly there, Bunker. It's quite a journey. And if you don't feel like taking the journey, you can actually jump on the train, which is so cool that you have that option as well.
I do like a sneaky train ride. The train's been operating now in the park for over 50 years. So pretty special feature that we have. One of the favourites with the kids, I must say.
And I think after this live segment, we might hop on and head back that way. What do you think?
I think so. Save our legs.
It looks really awesome. So this area I know is home to where you store the eucalyptus. Can we have a look at the eucalyptus as well?
Yeah, we can. As we head up this way towards our wildlife hospital, we will come past our eucalyptus storage facility, and it's designed to keep all that leaf that these guys need to eat nice and fresh.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Look, but do you think it's okay to take Bunker past his favourite food?
He might get his nose going. You might want to jump in there.
I feel like if it was chocolate and I was walking past, I don't know if I could just keep on going. Should we, keep him facing this way as we...
Distract him.
We actually have another question from Kelly. Hi Kelly, thank you so much for tuning in. How many koalas can be found here at Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary?
Well, at Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary, we've got over 50 koalas, and we actually currently have 10 little new babies on the way. So it's growing very much so, all part of our breeding and conservation project that we have with our koalas. So very, very exciting. But then we could also have wild ones come in as well that we're caring for. So it changes on a daily basis.
Look, we're just walking past the eucalyptus.
Look at that.
I think I'm going to have to just grab a little leaf.
Wow, Bunker, what's that?
Buddy?
You want to have a little snack,
Am I allowed
Bunker?
to give you some?
What's that?
Oh,
Oh,
he can get it himself.
It's
Look
nice,
at it go.
isn't it?
It smells like if you break it. Oh, it just smells so good.
They're super fussy, so that's actually how koalas will select their food, using that big nose. They'll sniff through the leaf and they'll pick out the most tastiest leaf and consume it.
Wow.
Look at his little nose go.
I know. All right, should we keep on walking?
I think
and
so.
actually, there are so many wild koalas that are patients at Currumbin Wildlife Hospital, so we might be able to see even more koalas. And yeah, I'm disappointed Bunker doesn't like my eucalyptus, but maybe later I'll put it here. There's just so many beautiful things in the sanctuary, and including this walkway for wildlife. It is just so fun that you can get your name on a little paver. Is your name somewhere?
My name is somewhere, certainly is. I've got my paver. I know where it is. It's coming up ahead. But I really think it's only a small one, but I think we should get one for Bunker. I think he wants a big one.
I think we should get one for all of those koala joeys.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to organise it. So, yeah, we got Simba, we had, who else?
Stella's the star. Yeah,
Stella is definitely getting one because
she's stunning, isn't she,
she can
little
have a
Stella?
little eucalypt leaf right next to her big one.
Exactly right.
She
yeah.
wouldn't stop eating the entire segment.
She's a pretty, mine's somewhere up here. Somewhere along here, yeah.
And for those who are just tuning in, basically we've had the most incredible time at Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary. We've seen dingoes, we've seen an echidna, we've seen a snake, we've seen koalas, and now we're about to go and take Bunker for his checkup at Currumbin Wildlife Hospital. So Sarah, what do you think that'll look like?
Well, hopefully it's nice and quick and easy because Bunker is fit as a fiddle, but we make sure that all of our animals are healthy by having an annual exam each year.
Bunker?
So Bunker's going in. Like I said, I didn't tell him about the vaccinations.
Yeah,
though.
let's keep that one quiet for now. I'll jump in here.
Awesome.
So I'm going to let you go. Do you think he'll be okay?
He's going to be fine. And
right?
after you've met with Dr. Michael Pine, I'll meet you up at the end there.
Oh, that sounds perfect. Now I'm so excited. I have a booking with the senior vet, Dr. Michael Pine here. Now, the other side of the hospital, Currumbin Wildlife Hospital, was actually created to care for the sick, injured and orphan native wildlife in the local area. And very quickly, it has become one of the busiest wildlife hospitals in the entire planet. It treats, rehabilitates and releases over 12,000 native wildlife animals per year. I have goosebumps thinking about that because without Currumbin Wildlife Hospital, a lot of these little guys would be just left on the side of the road, like this wedge-tailed eagle that I can see in here. Now, hopefully, Dr. Pine won't mind if we come in. Hello, Dr. Pine, are we allowed to come in?
Of course, yeah, no, it's quite okay.
Wow, this is a sight I honestly have never seen before. So can you tell us what's on the table? This is amazing.
So this is a female wedge-tailed eagle, and she's a wild bird that was hit by a car a few days ago and came into the wildlife hospital. And look, she is lucky. She's only been clipped by the car, battered and bruised, but no fractures. We've just done a whole series of x-rays, looking good, no fractures. But look, a bird like this will take quite a while to make a full recovery and get into that space where she's ready to be released.
Oh, she's just so beautiful. And what's her name?
This is Artemis.
Artemis.
So, yeah.
Wow, and she's the largest living bird of prey in Australia, is that right?
Oh, the white-bellied seagulls are a little bit bigger, but look, these are a big bird, and she's a big girl. The girls are bigger than the boys; they're the bosses. So yeah, and she knows it. She's got a bit of attitude, which is great.
Well, I hope the person that brought this little guy in is watching, because thank you so much for saving Artemis's life. That is just such an awesome thing. So there are around 250 different species that enter through the hospital doors each year, and Dr. Pine, the senior vet here, greets each and every one of them. Why are all of these animals coming into your hospital in the first place?
Oh, look, like Artemis here, they're coming in because people are here, and almost all of the patients come in one way or the other through us causing problems. A lot are hit by cars, just like Artemis was here. A lot are attacked by our pet dogs, our pet cats. A lot of them, fly into windows, get caught on fences, barbed wires, awful stuff that catches a lot of animals out. Fishing lines, fishing hooks are a very common problem here on the Gold Coast. So, you know, we owe it to our animals to be able to treat them and release them back into their homes.
So the goal here is really to treat, rehabilitate, and then as soon as possible get these guys back out into the wildlife. And I can only imagine how glorious this release will be.
Oh, look, it's the special moment when you're releasing animals back out into the wild, and certainly a big bird like Artemis, it is that special moment, you know, when they take back to the skies. But even just releasing the small animals, again, it's special, and you can see these animals come to life when they get back to their home, and they truly are excited to get back where they belong.
And he'll have a lot of stories to tell. I can't believe he was hit by a car. I feel like he's almost as big as a car. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I hate to see the car.
Yeah, I know, me too. Yeah. And obviously there's so many different species. Any a little bit misunderstood, would you say?
Look, I think a lot of our wildlife, you know, are misunderstood, but none more than flying foxes. They cop a really bad rap, but they're amazing animals. They've got trill personalities to go with it, and they're such important animals ecologically. What you've got to remember with flying foxes is they pollinate the eucalyptus forests. So if we don't have flying foxes, eventually we won't have eucalyptus forests, and of course then we won't have koalas, along with a whole other big range of species that obviously live in the eucalyptus forest. So flying foxes are just that crucial part of the whole ecosystem.
Did you get that, guys? If there's no bats, there are no koalas, which I can't believe that fact is true. That is just so fascinating. And it comes back to the fact that it is an ecosystem and every little piece plays its part. And these guys, and Renee, the vet nurse, their job is really to just keep the ecosystem going. They don't want to really change it too much unless they have to. And I guess that brings us to the point of koalas. You see almost 600 every year. Why would you see so many when they're meant to be happy in nature?
Look, koalas are really struggling, and of course there's a lot of habitats being lost with our koalas. Unfortunately, people like to live in the same areas where koalas like to live, and so there's that conflict, that ever-going challenge with habitat. But on top of that, in this part of Australia, chlamydial disease is devastating our local koalas, and look, of the 600 koalas that came into the hospital, at least 60% of them came in because they were sick from chlamydia, and many of the others had subclinical chlamydia, that they were on the way to getting sick from chlamydia. So it's a huge problem that we've got to find a way to manage for koalas to be able to survive here.
Do you have any koala patients at the moment?
Look, we've always got koala patients, and look, we do have, you know, one of our typical chlamydial patients here, Panna, who's been with us for 3 weeks and got some really nasty conjunctivitis in her eyes, and that's very typical of chlamydial infection and what it does. So we can go and have a look at her.
Are we allowed?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Renee. Bye, Artemis.
Ta.
Stay well. Okay, so down here will be one of the little koala patients.
Yeah, this is Panna just here.
Oh, wow.
So she's
Poor
under
little girl.
anaesthetic, and she's having a checkup today, and she has a course of injections to get on top of the infection. But you know, we can have a close look and we see how swollen her eyes are there, and that's after 3 weeks of actual treatment. So they're actually a lot worse than that originally, but it's on the improve now. Look, she's an older girl, but very special. She's actually got a little Joey in the pouch. It's only about
Joey.
3. Yeah, it's only about 3. It would have been born just before she came into the hospital here. So it's only about 3 weeks old. Yeah. So
That just
despite
makes your work so much more important.
Exactly. So everything, you know, despite all the problems she's had, she was still able to, you know, have a bub and come through. But look, this is a typical case that we see, and it's such a big problem with our local koalas and what's happening.
And I can't see, but can you see the little baby or
Really
hiding?
small.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
that's where the little.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, she really is tiny
Is
at that
little
age.
jelly bean?
Absolutely.
Okay, because we've been
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about joeys
yeah,
all
yeah.
morning, so now you
Yeah.
guys finally get to see what it sort of looks like, early stages anyway. And you guys are doing such an incredible job. How much work goes into treating and then releasing these wild koalas?
Look, even a very simple case, and Panna here is, you know, certainly a tricky case. And look, it's, you know, probably she'll be with us for 3 or 4 months. It'll be quite a long recovery from this. But even a simple case, the best case scenario is about 5 weeks of treatment. So, and the costs really do add up. On average, it's $7,000 to treat a single koala. So when we're getting almost 600 of them, it really does add up over time.
Thank you to all of the community who keep this hospital running. It's amazing. And what is your dream for koalas?
Look, I guess for us to be able to have koalas around for the long term, we need to find a way to manage chlamydial disease. So we need to be getting in that space where we're preventing it, where we're vaccinating them against chlamydia, so that we can prevent this kind of disease, because treating it is tricky, treating it isn't easy, and it's far better to prevent, and you know, that's the space we need to be in.
And how can the people who are tuning in from all over the world, thank you for tuning in, how can they help make that dream come true for koalas?
Look, as with everything, you know, dollars count, and it's not cheap to be able to do this type of work, to be out there vaccinating a lot of koalas, and for people to jump online, donate to our Currumbin Wildlife Hospital Foundation website. Look, every dollar will go a long way to go towards not only treating these animals, but finding a way to prevent this type of disease.
And I know that the Currumbin Wildlife Hospital have set up a GoFundMe page as well. It's called Help Keep Our Doors Open to Save Wildlife. It's also in the Currumbin Wildlife Hospital Facebook and Instagram bio, so you can find it there if you feel empowered to help these guys with their very, very tough journey. It's really remarkable what you do, and we'll let you keep working, because I know Mama's got to go back out to her koala rehab soon. And do we have another? Oh, we have so many patients.
We've got a freshwater turtle here, and so this is Raphael, who's fractured the shell. And again, this is a turtle that was actually hit by a car. What a lot of people don't realise is turtles will cross roads, and they do get themselves into trouble. And the shell does a remarkable job at protecting the internal organs, but yeah, you get nasty fractures. And what we've done here is actually, with wires, we've actually braced together all the fractures on the shell, and it will heal. The shell's a living structure. It's a bit like a bone, but it does take time. So we're talking 2 to 3 months for Raphael to make a full recovery here.
Wow, and I heard recently that the shells are actually, as you said, like bones, so it hurts when they break. So when they get hit by a car, they feel a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So thank you for, you know, giving them the pain medication that they need, and, you know, putting the putty on and connecting their shells. And they don't know this, but they look really cool as they're getting repaired. I think they have a bit of style. So I know that'll be off by the time they're released, but it looks really cool. And I know everyone watching really want to know all of your facts. So I'm going to ask you 3 of your favourite wildlife facts. But first, I'm just going to answer a couple of questions that have come through. How long do koalas live for? There's a few people asking that. And I actually, what is the answer?
Look, in the wild, where it's pretty tough out there, the best you're going to do is about 15 years, but most of them are struggling to get past 11 or 12 years old. Now, captive koalas, though, they've got a good life. They get everything brought to them, and look, you know, they can live up until 20, and we do have a record of a koala living until 27 years old here in the sanctuary.
27 years old. Oh, that's incredible. And what sound does a koala make from June in the USA? They've put us on the spot here. I can't do the bellow.
Oh, I can't make the sound.
Okay, so
we need
maybe
Sarah that we saw before to do the show. But look, they make
her.
a very deep grunting sound, and the males, when they do that over the breeding season, it's quite a frightening sound. A lot of people think it's a wild pig, something like that, and it is a frightening sound to hear if you don't know whether it's just a koala.
That's so fascinating. Okay, I'm going to hit you with those 3 facts. What are they? What's number 1?
Oh, interesting facts. Look, I do love that our Australian marsupials, they give birth to tiny little young, but what a lot of people don't know is our kangaroos, our macropods, they can actually pause their pregnancy. So Australia's this very tough country. We do get droughts, and so if times are really tough, they can actually pause the pregnancy, and then when times are good again, rains come and the grass grows back, then they can reactivate that pregnancy and give birth, and we're away again. It's a very unique thing that our kangaroos can do.
If only humans could do that. People would love that. That's so fascinating. And what's number 2?
Look, again, we've got egg-laying mammals, so echidnas and platypus are monotremes, so they're mammals that lay eggs, and that's very unique and very, very special. And you really have a mammal that's kind of half mammal, half reptile almost, and echidnas and platypus are just, they're very special because they're doing that.
And
absolutely.
the third one?
Oh, third, yes. Look, peregrine falcons hold a special place for me. They're incredible birds of prey, and these are birds that are flying at more than 300 kilometres an hour when they're doing their best. So they're the fastest animal on the planet. We do get quite a few of them come through our wildlife hospital here. We treat a high number of them, and it's a real pleasure to treat them, rehabilitate them, get their strength back, and release them back to the wild.
Well, they're really cool facts. We have so many questions coming in. We'll try and answer as many as we can. Catherine wants to know, do koalas have 2 thumbs?
Yes, they do have two thumbs, so it is right. They've kind of got a little grooming claw as well that they use to groom themselves and keep their fur really healthy and really happy. So, but there's many unique things about koalas. Yeah.
I'm going to throw in a question here really quickly. What are the classic signs of chlamydia if people do see them in the wild?
Sure, well, the classic chlamydial symptoms are swollen eyes, so the conjunctiva get very swollen and sore, and as a result they end up blind almost. As we saw with Panna, the koala we just saw, she was struggling out there because she just couldn't see and wasn't able to get enough food. You do get another form where it gets into the urinary tract and affects the kidneys and the bladder, and that form's often a lot nastier, and they really do get very sick with that, and you tend to find there's a lot of urine leaking and staining, and it's not very pleasant, and they're the ones that we really worry about when they come into the hospital. And
so is research the only way forward?
Look, absolutely. We've got to find, better ways to treat them. They're tricky to treat, and they're always looking for better antibiotics or better ways to get on top of the infection. But I think more importantly, it's finding a way to prevent. Again, it's getting back to, vaccinating wild koalas, getting to that space where actually preventing the diseases in the first place.
Yeah, they deserve such happy lives. They're just so adorable. Okay, do we have any more questions? We have another one from Elizabeth. Thank you so much for tuning in. How can you tell a koala's age? That's a great question.
It is and there's a good answer to that, Elizabeth. So koalas' teeth wear down over their lifetime. So horses are very similar, and so what we find is their teeth wear, and we can quite accurately age themselves by looking at their teeth. But you do need to get them under anaesthetic to have a really close look at their molar teeth, and from that we can be quite accurate with what their age are.
Great. Okay, another question here from Daniel from Sweden. Hey Daniel, thank you so much. And also do let us know where you're from, because I think it's so cool that we can bring you our local wildlife all the way to the other side of the world. So the question is, what sort of patient has the highest admission rate?
Look, that's an easy question for us. Look, our hospital admits almost 12,000 animals a year, but many of those, in fact, almost 2,000 of them are rainbow lorikeets. So they're a very brightly coloured parrot that are very common on the Gold Coast. They're an angry little parrot, and unfortunately they're suffering from a disease that we're not quite sure what causes it, called lorikeet paralysis syndrome, where these lorikeets just lose the strength to be able to fly, and it may well be a virus causing it, or there could be a toxin. We're still, working to try and understand that, but yes, we get almost 2,000 rainbow lorikeets every year through the hospital.
Wow. Okay, we have another one that was sent in earlier. It was from Brittany from the Gold Coast. Thank you so much, Brittany. She wanted to know, why do all of the animals have names? And I mean, not why, but how do you get them? Yeah.
They're not from me, I'll tell you that.
Dr. Pine sits there every day.
Look, many of the animals come with names from the people that actually rescue them and find them. So when they bring them into the hospital, we always ask if they have a name, and of course, we try to, let those people that did the right thing and brought the injured animal into us to have that opportunity to name them. So many come with names. Those that don't, look, the nurses and the volunteers and the students, they get the honour of naming them.
So how do all of the animals actually make their way to the hospital? Because there's a lot of driving to be done.
Yeah, look, we are a true community wildlife hospital, so the great majority of our patients just do come from members of the public that find the sick, injured and orphan animals and bring them to us. We do have some amazing wild care groups and rescue groups out there that also do a lot of the rescuing and bring those animals to us. These are volunteer, not-for-profit groups that we work closely with, and they do an amazing job rescuing them. And then we have 2 ambulances as well that are out and about, always, collecting animals and doing rescues. So it's very much a community job. In many ways, the animals find their way to us.
And I know that hooks are a major issue for a lot of the little turtles and seabirds as well. Can you tell the viewers why the hook surgeries are so difficult for you and why they're happening in the first place and what we can do?
Yeah. Look, on the Gold Coast, there's a lot of waterways, and so as a result, a lot of fishermen out there, and of course our native wildlife, they tend to hang around fishermen because people tend to feed the animals, feed the birds, feed the turtles, and then they of course don't know when there's a bit of food on a hook that it's different. So we get a lot of freshwater turtles coming in that have ingested hooks, and we get a lot of fishing lines and fishing hooks wrapped around our water birds, our pelicans, our cormorants, our seagulls, and so it's an endless job, I guess. Removing these, and look, a week wouldn't go by where we wouldn't admit this one, but it's almost an everyday thing that we're admitting birds and turtles with fishing hook and fishing line injuries.
So I guess dispose of any fishing materials and also don't feed wildlife. Would they be the
Absolutely. Look, it's amazing how our wildlife, they're almost a magnet to hooks and fishing lines, so we need to make sure we dispose of it. But don't encourage the turtles and the birds to hang around you while you're fishing. Don't feed them, because that will only encourage them to hang around, and that's when things go wrong.
Look, I think we've got to finish up the segment now. I could honestly talk all day about all the beautiful creatures, and there's so many other rooms. I think everyone will just have to eventually have a behind-the-scenes tour. And spring is actually the best time because it's very busy around springtime, isn't it?
Oh, springtime's crazy here. So we like the winter time because we're admitting around 30 patients a day, but that doubles up to around 60 patients a day during the spring and summer, and it turns crazy in here and really intense. And there's certainly a number of days where we get over 100 patients in a single day.
Wow, thank you so much for taking this time, because I know how busy you are. I've seen all of the patient forms. There are so many little guys coming in today to get checked up. So what we'll do is we'll go check on Bunker, grab Sarah, and then we'll say goodbye to everyone. So thank you, guys. We'll just head out here.
Right.
And Sarah was obviously with Bunker for his checkup, his annual checkup.
Cool.
Do you know Bunker?
I do know Bunker well. He's one of the favourites. He's a special lad.
Yes. There he is. How did he go?
Really well.
Oh.
You got the ticker good.
He's all good?
What a relief. Hey, buddy, I'm so glad we've had such a successful day. And when the world can travel again, I think the only option is that you all come and visit us here at Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary and Currumbin Wildlife Hospital. There is just so much to explore. We really do hope to open up soon to the world, because there is so much to share with you. We haven't even scratched the surface. And thank you so much for tuning in. I loved seeing everyone from all over the world. It's just so cool. And we can't wait to see you. Make sure you follow us on social media. We'll put up lots of little patient stories as well. And continue to watch Live from Oz, because it's only just getting started. So thank you so much for tuning in from the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. And we'll see you soon. And thank you to Big Voice Media and Scott and the team. And of course, Dr. Pine and Sarah and Bunker, who, am I allowed a hug yet? Can I have a hug now? I just want one really bad. Thank you, guys.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.